Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's game. Fans, it's time now to meet the starters for this evening's game.
You've never seen a baseball field inside of a speedway. It's probably the second coolest field I ever done. The first was Battle of Bristol here in Bristol.
With baseball, as you've seen, there's dugouts and bullpens and walls and nets and foul poles.
This thing's going to end up right at getting close to 19,000 tons of rock we ended up putting in here in a little bit less than a week.
Look at all the grades that we are finessing to ensure it's spot on. They have to be right, and that is a 100% reflection on the people who built the field.
Hey, I'm Chad Baker at Baker Construction Services. We're sitting inside the world's last great Coliseum inside Bristol Motor Speedway. Just finished up a project here. We came out, we brought about 20 dump trucks and 2 D6 Cat XE dozers, one on GPS, one on UTS, and a 14M motor grader and about 4 or 5 smooth drum rollers. First day we out here, we ended up putting about 8,500 tons in the first day and finished up with about another 600 or 700 tons that we had. All that material we'd stockpiled from when we built the football field here in 2015. We've been working for Speedway Motor Sports since 1996. They've been a fantastic partner for us, and we consider them as not only business associates but friends and family. So when this project came up, it was real unique, and we look forward to doing it. So ended up hauling all that stockpile material in. Then we ended up hauling about another 10,000 tons of 57s, 8s, and 10s in here to build this baseball field. So, you know, a baseball field inside of it's about 108,000 square feet. A lot different animal than just building a football field, because you got all these tight radius and tight corners. And then one time we ended up doing all the foundations for the walls, because they're set on different elevations, and then you got all the dugouts and fan areas and stuff like that. This thing's going to end up right at getting close to 19,000 tons of rock we ended up putting in here in a little bit less than a week. And we ended up having to finish each layer. So we finished our stockpile material layer. We had it within a couple hundredths. Then we put our 57s down and had to finish all that area. Then we put a layer of 8s down, had to finish it within a hundredth. And then we put a 1/4 inch of 10s, which is a real fine manufactured sand basically right on top of it. And we used our dozers on the big rock. We used our motor grader and our 285 skid steer with a motor grade blade attachment. Both of those are running on UTS. And because we had little tight areas, we had to work like inside of the infield area, around the pitcher's mound. A lot of places and up against the fences, you just can't run a 14 motor grader. It's way too big. But we were able to use that skid steer and get to tight places and match up with the 14. So I had a fantastic group of operators out here. I had 4 of my greatest finish operators out here. 2 or 3 of my superintendents actually were out here operating equipment for me. We fought through a lot of rain, thunderstorms. We'd have to hurry and throw covers over our robots so they wouldn't get soaking wet. Then jump as soon as they quit. We'd jerk a tarp off of them or a bag and go back to grading. So they did a fantastic job. We turned this thing over a week earlier than they thought we could. They're putting their final touches and putting the infill in here, and they're ahead of schedule. We'll be ready to play ball.
Cook, president of Brightview Sports Turf, and we are responsible for building the field. And also, we are Major League Baseball's official field consultants and have been for over 30 years. From a construction standpoint, this facility, the idea of playing in Bristol came about several years ago. Major League Baseball has always been wanting to move the game to new and unique and exciting places, and this was put in the maybe pile back in 2017. And here we are today. I mean, Major League Baseball's grown the game around the world in different states, 5 different states over the course of the past 7 years in 2 different countries. So we're excited to be a part of that team that helps do that. First, we have to make sure everything works for the field to be able to meet all the Major League requirements for dimensions, distances, and so on. The venue is huge, but obviously there's this thing called Colossus that sits over in the middle of the Speedway area, just sitting off the third base line, a couple of feet. So the field is clear, but it's also sitting in foul territory. But we're able to figure it out and move that. Obviously, some of the demolition of the pit walls and the Goodyear building had to take place just to fit the ballpark. When you look at what Baker and the BMS built back in 16 for the Battle of Bristol, that was a football field. The football field is only 65,000 square feet. Well, this is 125,000 square feet, and so it's a much larger project along with everything else and the seating and everything else. So it's a big one. And obviously, there is a whole commercial piece that needs to be worked out with Bristol Motor Speedway, our partners, and then bringing on our other partners, Populous and BaAM, as the other folks who do the design and all the back of house to make sure we get everything in here that needs to be in here to host the Major League game. Once that's done, then we start working through the details of finding our subcontractors. And early on, we were brought Chad Baker and his team's name early on that said these guys would be the ones that we should go with, and we never wavered. Once BMS recommended, and we said, hey, that's fine with us. As soon as it was announced, we called them the next day and made that announcement that we wanted to team up with them to get this done, and we couldn't be happier with all the work that they've been putting into this, getting it where it is today. We're in a really good spot with Baker's work and helping us put this thing together. I mean, Major League Baseball has a pretty strict criteria for infield and clays. Obviously, it's a small ball sport, so a little white ball gets hit pretty hard, and it needs to bounce true. And so when you look at all the grades that we are finessing to ensure it's spot on, they have to be right, or it could be result in a bad hop during the game. And that is a 100% reflection on the people who built the field. So we want to have it as level as it can possibly be to a zero tolerance. So that's why we really go into the details of like building the mound home plate, getting the edges around the lips of the field, around where the clay meets the turf. We're going to spend a lot of time on that the next few days to really ensure before they lay that grass down that all of our grades are at zero tolerance, so that it's from that point up, it's up to the turf to do its job.
So, my name's Shane Harkey. I'm with Astroturf. I'm Senior Project Manager here. We have put in this beautiful field. After Baker Construction has put their stone in, they put a base down, did a really fine job on it. We worked with them on the Battle at Bristol as well. They do a heck of a job, and they give us a good base where we can put down a good field for Major League. Never seen a baseball field inside of a speedway. It's probably the second coolest field I ever done. The first was Battle of Bristol here in Bristol. So we've got a Brock pad down under here, and it's to help give cushion down and support for the turf system that we've got. And so then we put the pad down, we put the turf, roll the turf out across it. It's 125,000-ish square feet. Seam it all together, and then we start infilling it with sand and rubber and cooling agent on top. These guys, our crews, are top notch. They're the best.
Steve Swift, Senior Vice President of Operation Development for Speedway Motor Sports. I'm here from the Bristol area. naturally have done a lot of work. You know, what we see here, not just the baseball side, but from the build-outs of the speedway itself, the track, the infield, the grandstands. Oversee most of the construction that we've done. Colossus. Worked with Bakers for a long time, even prior to my speedway days. Worked with them when I was the general contractor local here in this area, so know Chad and team really, really well. Basically, the process for us, you know, we had a lot of work we had to do to get the facility ready to be able to install the baseball field. So a lot of demo work that took place, getting walls taken down, mirror trans, all the lights that light the track itself. The half of the Goodyear building had to be gone because now naturally outfield wall falls into that place, and then just being close with most of the contractors, you know, with BCS being a close contractor and working with those guys and kind of liaison between Brightview and the BaAM team and the MLB team and the Bakers team, just because we've worked on so many projects throughout the years, whether it be Atlanta Motor Speedway's repaved, now Echo Park Speedway, or Bristol or Charlotte or Texas, we just worked hand in hand together. So a lot of the guys that work with BCS have been part of what we consider the Speedway team and become part of the family, and couldn't ask for a better bunch of contractors. You know, it's interesting, you know, we did football back in 2016, and it's really interesting how the different process between the football field and the baseball field has been. You know, naturally with football, we were just more concerned about getting the field structure down, and there wasn't a lot of ancillary things on the outskirts of it, such as walls and nets and pipes and the things that make a baseball stadium a baseball stadium. You know, football is an open field with big runoffs on both sidelines, so you're basically just putting down a lot of stone and making a flat surface to then put turf on, and then the football field takes care of itself. With baseball, as you've seen, there's dugouts and bullpens and walls and nets and foul poles, a lot of the structures that required a lot of that extra demo work on the front. And you know, the great part today, you know, 20 years ago we didn't have the machine control, we didn't have the things that are in the equipments today that they're able to utilize and build models. So that's been a key component, you know, making sure drainage is correct, right? We're putting a lot of fill on a place that was built to drain when it's all concrete and asphalt, and now you've got stone and a facility that's taking place on top of it that has to have drainage, so making sure the drainage piece is right. And you know, can't say enough about the logistics piece of all the planning that's taking place leading up to this. BaAM, MLB, Brightview have really done a great job of incorporating Baker's Construction Services in this to plan out all the pieces, where everybody needed to be at a certain time, making sure that traffic flows were right, so we didn't have tons of dump trucks coming in at the same time as you had people trying to build walls, and all the pieces that it takes. So the logistics behind it's been really rewarding to watch. You know, a big part of the fun of construction is to plan through the states and then seeing that plan come to fruition. So for the years that we've been talking about it, the couple of years that's gone on, and then now actually seeing the execution and all the team players that's been part of that planning state execute the plan is really rewarding. And then naturally the big reward will be on August 2nd when they're knocking a baseball out here in the outfield, hopefully over the wall for a couple home runs, and there's a game being played. That's when the real reward happens. Can't say enough you know, about Chad and the Bakers team. I mean, never say no, always willing to take on the challenge. You know, the reason we call them, the reason they travel to all of our tracks is, one, Chad's got that can-do attitude that he's going to make anything happen no matter what. Usually try to under-promise, over-deliver, and always over-delivers. The team there, you know, from top to bottom, from the field guys with Scotty and Jesse and all the guys that, you know, are out here running the equipment, to Chad's leadership and what he's got there in the office. It's just a great team, and that's why they've been doing work for us for 30 years, and continue to prove, you know, from an economical base to from an owner's stance. You know, you naturally want to make sure that budgets are staying in line, and you're also meeting those time frames, and you couldn't ask for a better contractor to help you with both of those, making sure budgets are good. They always save us money, and then naturally always producing a product prior to when we need it, and always hitting those dates that we're trying to hit. So we can't move race dates, we can't move baseball games. Those dates are set in concrete, and always overperforms and makes sure that those things happen. So can't say enough about that team. Truly a great partnership. We consider them, like I said, they're part of the Speedway team. They're not just BCS, they're actually part of the Speedway team, and we love to have them come to each of our facilities and help us to achieve the visions that the Smith family puts together. Always made it happen, always done it economical, and we've always got to that final product and had some really cool projects in the way to prove and to show for after those plans and things are put together. So really appreciate that partnership. Look forward to many more years of it.
thank our partners at Stower's Machinery and Caterpillar. We used all Caterpillar equipment out here on this project from day one. Guys from Sitech, they were here supporting us in case we were running. Lots of times we were running 5 robotic stations between the equipment and our surveyors checking behind our equipment. Can't thank those guys enough. Thank our partners at Speedway Motor Sports, and thank Major League Baseball and BaAM and Brightview, who we're working for out here on this project, for letting us be a part of this team. We really enjoyed it.